Good afternoon, friends. Today we are at the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts. So we had a memorial lecture here. We have this eminent historian, I would say, artist, yeah, and she's from JNU, the Jawaharlal Nehru University. It's Parul Dave Mukherjee. So, ma'am, you're talking about Kentish Coomarswamy Memorial Lecture, the second one in the series.
Right.
So you spoke about decolonizing, and so we'd like to know what are the main points, ma'am.
So I was actually looking at decolonization in two senses, because if we go back to Coomarswamy's contribution to Indian art history, in fact, he also played a key role in decolonizing art history, by which I mean that he wrote when India was still a British colony, and he was writing under tremendous pressure because there was this notion that Indian art does not match up to European art, and therefore he felt compelled to make Indian art incomparable. So he used these analytical polarities where he contrasted Indian art, calling it metaphysical and spiritual, and contrasted it with materialistic, naturalistic European art. Of course, these are kind of, today they sound like hollow binaries, but at that time they played a very important role in defense of Indian art. But today, on one hand, I'm very, very appreciative of the kind of enormous work of scholarship and his contribution. But at the same time, for us to carry on with that legacy without making decolonization speak to our own time, I think we have to deal with different strategies of understanding decolonization, because we are no longer a colonized nation. If we are really part of a post-colonial nation, we have experienced almost 70 years of independence. Shouldn't we look at our past from a different perspective, where we don't have to be so defensive, and we should have the confidence to say that not everything which happened in Western art or European art should have happen in Indian context. And I think that's where I place the question of performative mimesis, which is really about a certain kind of Indic naturalism, which was constructed in a very different way. And it is time for us to listen to the text, because that's what the texts are saying. But very often you find art historians who are under the spell of Coomarswamy, they would also not listen to the text. And my understanding of decolonizing is, let us try to listen to this text and pay attention to them. And they could be source of Indic art theory. And I think in current times, when you're really talking about decolonization, we are often, Indian scholars are accused of, Indian art historians are accused of being derivative, that we are always using our conceptual tools from the West, Western theoretical toolkits, and we have nothing of our own. And I think that it's important to really explore the knowledge system, which it has much to offer. And I'm saying that I'm not arguing for some pure native theory, but we still have to adopt a comparative mode. We have to draw from contemporary art theories, which actually open our eyes to the importance of some of these texts.
Yes. Now, just lastly, we want you to introduce yourself as well, and also the Mr. Coomarswamy, about his background a little bit, so that the viewer can understand.
Sure. Ananda Kentish Coomarswamy, he was originally a geologist, and he studied, I think,
born in India?
He was born in England. Then he spent few years in Sri Lanka. His father was from Sri Lanka. His mother was English. And then I think he went back to England. That's where he did his schooling and his education. And initially he wanted to become a geologist. And when he was traveling to Sri Lanka, his native Sri Lanka, as a geologist doing field work, he began to notice how ill-fitting the clothes were on the bodies of the native women, children. They were actually wearing frocks, something which they are not used to. And he realized that this is looking so odd and incongruous. And he felt that he really had to do something in the field of culture. And I think that's when kind of shift took place from geology to art history.
Great. That's ma'am. I'm your introduction as well, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm well.
That'd be nice for the viewers,
yes, I am Parul Mukherjee, and I have been teaching in the Department of Visual Studies in JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, School of Arts and Aesthetics, and in fact, my current book I'm working on, is very much to do with the subject of my talk today. I want to really explore the whole idea of decolonizing mimesis in Indian art.
It hasn't been published.
No, I'm still working on it.
So we'll wait for that day. And lastly, like we just had this G20. I'm using this G20, you know. So G20 presidency was there, and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji we had the Bharat Mandapam. So there they had got the statue of Nataraja, and they've got so many other idols, you know, where Indira Gandhi, Dr. Sachidanand Joshi was very instrumental. So how do you feel? How was the what we tried to publicize to the world? Were we doing the right thing? And
well, you know, you can't go wrong with the figure of Nataraja, and it's such a absolutely magnificent piece of sculpture.
20 tons, I believe.
Absolutely, and it's a sculpture that Coomarswamy has written a lot on. In fact, he's written a full article on Nataraja, and he's explained its philosophical symbolism and the whole metaphysical meaning underlying it. It's really about cosmic energy and how that has been translated in terms of this dancing figure. And every part of Nataraja's body is, filled with significance.
Right, ma'am. I think thank you. And also lastly, we'll request Mr. Kokar. He's from Bangalore. So he will be joining us. So you can just give a brief introduction, then we'll ask him to speak about the subject. We'll request him.
Sure.
So you can just introduce him. Or we'll ask him to.
I'm not very familiar.
Okay, we'll do that. So thank you. This is Sanjay Agrawal, and we'll get the other guest here today. Thank you, ma'am.